Arman's days were spent under the unforgiving sun, lifting bricks and mixing cement at a construction site. His hands were rough, his clothes always dusty, and his pockets almost empty. But his heart was soft and honest, something the world often overlooked. One afternoon, while pushing a wheelbarrow, he heard a gentle voice behind him. He turned and saw Hania, a young architect with a calm presence and kind eyes. She had come for a site inspection. Arman showed her the way, thinking the moment would end there. But it didn't. Each day after that, their paths crossed. She greeted him with a smile that felt warmer than sunlight. Sometimes she left a cold bottle of water near him during the hottest hours, pretending it was nothing. For Arman, it meant everything. He had never received kindness from someone like her, someone from a world far above his own. One evening, she found him sitting alone, tying a bandage around a cut on his palm. Without hesitation, she knelt beside him and took the bandage from his hand, her touch gentle and careful. No one had touched his wounds with such care before. He could barely breathe as she tied it for him, looking at him with worry. That moment stayed in his heart like a quiet, beautiful scar. As weeks passed, Arman fell in love in silence. He never said a word. How could he? She was educated, respected, and wealthy. He was a laborer who barely earned enough to survive. But love doesn't care for logic. It grows where hearts open. Hania admired his honesty, the way he helped others without expecting anything, the sincerity in everything he did. One rainy afternoon, she slipped on wet cement, and before she could hit the ground, Arman caught her. For a moment she was in his arms, their faces inches apart, their breath mixing with the scent of rain. But he stepped away quickly and called her madam, his voice tight with distance. She looked hurt and asked why he always called her that. Arman lowered his eyes and said he wasn't someone who had the right to speak to her normally. She whispered that he was worth more than he believed, at least to her. A few days later, she found him sitting alone during lunch, his eyes clouded. When she asked why he avoided her, Arman finally admitted the truth. He said he had feelings he should never have, feelings he was ashamed of because she belonged to a higher world. His voice broke as he said he cared for her with everything he had. He stood up to walk away, embarrassed by his confession. But Hania took his hand and stopped him. Her voice was soft but certain as she told him she didn't care about status, money, or what people thought. She cared about him, his sincerity, his kindness, his soul. Then she said the words he never imagined he'd hear from someone like her. I love you, Arman. In that moment, the world he thought was close to him opened like a warm sunrise. People gossiped. Some judged her, some mocked him. But they stood together through it all. Arman worked even harder, saving money and taking evening classes. Not because she asked, but because she believed he could be more. Her faith in him became the force that changed his life. Months later, Arman stood nervously outside her house wearing his best shirt, the only good one he owned. When Hania opened the door, she held his hand tightly and asked him if he was ready to meet her family. His voice shook as he said he was ready as long as she stood beside him. She smiled and told him she always would. And so a poor laborer with a heart full of love, and a woman who saw that heart clearly, walked forward into a future that neither wealth nor poverty could define. Because real love belongs to the ones who give it with honesty. And Arman had loved her with everything he had.